to participate. It is not a webinar, so just again, be prepared. And we have a really great session in store for you guys. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Stu Semigran, our president and co-founder.
Thank you, Armando. And good morning, everyone. I'm going to just get to my other screen here and hope everyone's doing well. And I am just so excited that we're here together, and I welcome everyone from all across the country and perhaps other parts of the world for joining us today. And before we just dive right in, I just want to thank you for taking your time. I know there's a lot in each of our lives right now, and for you to devote some time with us this morning, our thanks to you. And I want to just give you a moment to get to know our team that's with you today for this wonderful workshop. So I'm going to invite Bryn and Marguerite, if you would each introduce yourselves, and then I'll have a few more words to say.
Hi, my name is Bryn Drescher. I'm a facilitator with Educare. I'm happy to be with all of you from all over the country. This is for everyone that is interested in up-leveling their caring through education and the work that we do. So thank you for being here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marguerite Ward, and I'm also facilitator for the Educare Foundation. And I just love the work that we're doing, and I love that you're all here, and I'm excited to share this work with you, and you're in for a big treat. We've got Stu in the house, so it's going to be a great morning.
Great. Well, thank you, Marguerite, Bryn, Armando, and all who are joining us today. And I want to give a thanks out to Temescal Associates and How Kids Learn Foundation, Sam Pia, Stacy Dario, for sponsoring and inviting us in on this forum for How Kids Learn. This is a forum that we've done live across different parts of California over the last several years. So this is our first go at doing it virtually. And so please know we think we have something that's of an experience for you rather than just a webinar. When we've done this live face-to-face, it's been an opportunity for people to experience Growth Heartset. So let me place that out as an intention for all of us, that this will be interactive. And the sense of us as a group, and one of the ways we like to describe it is there's a human connection if we care to have that inside of a virtual connection. So the experience of this hopefully is more than just informational. It'll be hopefully inspirational as well, and something that you'll experience what this Heartset is about. Because I think we're living at a time right now, and as everybody knows, where the choices of how we approach what we're dealing with personally, in our work, in our world, has a lot to do with the choices we make of, do we go into the fear or do we go into a greater place of love and kindness? And what's inspiring me most these days is seeing the tremendous examples of people coming together and really serving and helping and sharing their love. So the foundation in love for education has been with Educare from the start. And before I kind of take you into where we've been and how we're going to take this into Heartset today, I want to give a chance for us to connect, because my hope would be that this computer world doesn't get in the way of the human connection. So imagine that we are together in a huge room of 200 plus people together, but we see each other through the screen, but there's a sense of energy, connection, love that we might share in the learning today. And I asked Bryn to kind of take us into this connecting world through virtual mechanisms to do a connection opening with us. So I'm going to turn it back to you, Bryn.
Thank you, Stu. Briefly, before we do that, we wanted to go over a Zoom overview, okay? So you guys have probably been 1,000 Zoom meetings lately, but just for a few that may not know, if you want to see the chat, you press the chat button at the bottom, that opens it up. We love to have, dialogue in there, and we're going to be watching and monitoring the chat to make sure that all of your comments are brought into, as many of your comments as possible are brought into the conversation if it's a question or something like that. Secondly, for those of you that don't know, when you click on participants, there's a place there to raise your hand. So let's say we miss your question in chat and you have something that's really pertinent, and you can raise your hand. So if a couple people can do that now, just raise their hand. That way that we know you know how to do that. We can put all your hands down, don't worry. Just wanted to see that you guys know how to do that. Okay, great. Seeing a lot of hands raised, fantastic. You can just put it right back down if you know how to do that, great. Obviously muting and unmuting, we're gonna ask that you generally stay muted because of so many people. but feel free to unmute when we ask, because this is an interactive session. This is not a webinar. I know you've been on those that are like one-way communication. This is a two-way communication. So speaking of that, we're going to do that right now. We think the best way to have people in any of these sessions to really talk about connection and get this heart set going is through getting your energy in the meeting. So if everybody can unmute and just say hello and just say their name. We're not going to do one at a time. So we're going to do all at once.
Hello. I'm Felisa. Hello.
I'm from Fresno.
Hey, Jessica.
From California representing.
So many of you.
All of you guys here with us.
Say hi.
Rivera.
See you. Hey. Leslie. Freya.
Oh,
Love it.
But for this course,
All right.
realistically, practically, the second half of this semester has been absolutely chaotic and dramatic.
The last thing I wanted to mention, just because we think it helps with the connection, is if you have the bandwidth and you can, please turn your cameras on. We think you look beautiful. We're not worried about you having your perfect face on. We would love to see your faces. It helps us feel more connected to you, and we find that it helps us, you know, more people focus on the meeting. So we'd love for you to have your cameras on if possible. And with that, I'm going to toss it back to Stu Semigran.
Joy and connection is part of where we're going today. So having the screens open, looking at each other, and knowing that no matter where we are, it's how we pull together, not just at this time, but always, that makes the difference. And that's a part of the core of Heartset. I want to share with you a little bit of where we're going to take the day. It's going to be interactive. We're going to give you practical tips for yourself, for your classes, for your kids, both face-to-face and virtually. But we want you also to have that experience, because a lot of Heartset has to deal with how do we take care of ourselves as educators, as parents, and that way we have an overflow to take care of others. So a lot of this work of education is not forgetting that we're the main ingredients. Our kids are looking for us, and we need to take good care, if we really care about our kids, of ourselves. So I want to take us through a few screens here. So I'm going to share my screen, and if I'm not doing it quite correctly, I'll turn it over to you, Bryn, to kind of take me there. So this is a screen I want to share with you in terms of the purpose of the day. And a lot of you've seen this already or heard me say it, is to develop the experience we're going to have, not just the words and the thoughts of Heartset, but can we have a taste of it today? And why? Because it has to do with bringing love forward inside of education. That our kids, and I think we know kids, when they know we're behind them, that we care about them, that we believe in them, we support them, then they want to learn. It's not just another teacher, another after-school program. It's an individual. They go, God, they are really with me. And that's at the core of Heartset, that building of relationships and caring for our kids. And with that, I wanted to just kind of mention the whole idea that we've heard so through the years of there's kids who have achievement because they have it, they're brighter, so they've been told, or so the society thinks, and some kids who don't. And we've all realized that it's not about the difference of kids. It really has to do with the opportunities that some parts of our society are given more. And we know the social injustices around. And when I looked at that, I said, yeah, kids can all achieve if they got the same opportunities. But I remembered asking myself years ago, why are the opportunities not the same from kids in poorer neighborhoods or kids of color? What is that? And what I came to is the real gap isn't just an achievement gap and an opportunity gap. What if the real gap was a love gap? That in our world, in our society, we place love forward more for some elements, for some kids, for some populations than others. That if we really wanted to move into more opportunities for kids, we needed to bring love more forward in all communities. Opportunities would be more equal, and then achievement would be, it wouldn't be a matter. It's not about kids who are smarter or not smarter. It's kids who are given the love and the opportunities. And that's been a lot of the core of Growth Heartset, that we bring out love as a foundation and that we do it through action. So one of the ways we described Heartset, it's a kindness of heart. It's established as a culture of self-awareness, personal responsibility, empathy for one another, and compassion, where we come together as a community. And when kids know we care, they want to learn. And one of our principals once told us, and we take it to heart, he said, you know what you guys have done with your work with Heartset is you helped us capture the hearts of our kids, and now we can really go after their minds. They want to learn. So we're laying the foundation through not just a positive mindset, but bringing in a positive and growth Heartset. The magic ingredient, and I think a lot of us could guess, ingredient is love. And we call it unconditional love. And we're not getting into the world of romantic love, the world of sexual love, possessive love. We're saying, guess what? It's a genuine kindness for people. And when we have that for our kids, they know it. They feel it. They want to learn from us. And then the question is, how do we take that into our own lives with ourselves and other people? Because part of the work we'll be doing today is the growth Heartset starts with us, with the relationship we have with ourselves, and then it translates out into the relationships we have with others. And this got started for me years ago when I was teaching. I was in LAUSD. I was a math teacher in middle school for many years. And what I realized was my kids didn't care how much I knew until they knew how much I cared about them. And we started bringing this type of work into my classrooms, and all of a sudden it started to soar, and kids are doing great. So with that in mind, I wanted to let you know that this has been inspired by a lot of people. And one of the people that inspired us has been a gentleman named Jose Navarro. He's had been a principal at Social Justice Humanitas Academy in San Fernando Valley here in LA. And when I went to his high school years ago, I saw this unconditional love out in front. And what I noticed was this. There was a theme at the school, and the theme was this theme. The theme was La Kach Alakin, which means I'm another you. I'm you and you are me. If I do harm to you, I do harm to myself. If I love and respect you, I love and respect myself. And the playwright Luis Valdez quoted that. And when I saw that at the school, I realized something. It wasn't just a slogan where kids and teachers really cared for each other. You could feel it. And I realized that's what held kids together. So this theme of human connection is one that's been at the core of Heartset. And I wanted to share with you this slide. I saw this beautiful image on a computer screen one day, and this quote, the twinkle in the eye, the smile on the face, that awareness that says that I know you are here, I can see you. For kids to be seen and not forgotten, for kids to know that we're with them. And one of my friends and mentors, he may be with us today, he now teaches in Texas, Frank Vitali, he was an example of this for me. I would see him just go right into kids on the playground and say, hey, how you doing today? And look at them, put his face right up to their face. And before you knew it, the kids thought, this isn't just a crazy guy, but he really wants me to know that I am being seen by him today. And just think how many kids go by and just another kid, and they want to be left behind. And part of our sense of Heartset is we bring them into our world. We see them. So part of what I'm going to ask for us today is to take some time to know, though we look like strangers here today, some of us know each other, but consider that we really are a community this time, right now, this 100, 200 of us right now, if we choose to look and to see one another. So we're going to give you a chance, something unusual. And we do this face to face. We walk around in a room and we say good morning. We look at each other and we say the words, I see you. Now here we are on a computer screen. How can we do that? So here's what we thought we would do. Just for a moment, I'm going to ask everyone to kind of go to that gallery view, and we're going to take a look. And if we need to, Bryn, or help me just kind of pull us back into that gallery view.
Yeah, hold on one second. I was going to say, I was like,
and as we do this,
And
we're
share
going to
the
have it
screen.
in a way that,
stop your share, Stu. Just stop share. Sorry.
there we go.
There you
Now
go.
I know how to do that. Thanks. And as you go into the gallery view, as many of us who can, I'm going to ask you to put your camera on. And it's kind of unusual because who do I look at? There's so many. But even if it's just a name, take a moment and pause and look and imagine that we're together through this virtual world, but we're a community. And as you look, you might want to tap in the chat room your name. Hey, I'm Stu and I'm with you. Or I'm Stu and I see you. But take a moment Look around, put your entry of, hey, I'm with you, I see you, and just place that into the chat room if you would. So let people know that you're with one another here today. For this virtual world doesn't have to push us back. It can actually bring us in. We're a community. We're together. And if you look at people for a moment, they may be looking down at their screen, they may be looking at their keyboard, but just take note who you're with. Each one in their special way is an amazing human being. And I'm hearing people say, hey, I see you, great to see you. I'm with you all. Felipe, hey, I see you. Adi says, hey, I see you, Catherine. Hey, you. Hey, beautiful people. Just know we don't have to let the virtual world take us away. It can really keep us close. And that's going to be our theme today. So as we move forward, I want to mention a few things, and we're going to be interactive in just a moment. So I'm going to take us back into that shared screen. Keep your chats going on those ways of seeing one another and being with each other. And with this right now, I want to take us into what this thing called Heartset's about. A lot of us have probably known a lot about growth mindset, and we give credit to the wonderful work of Carol Dweck out of Stanford University. That idea of a clear and directive and very much positive focused mind of grit and determination really takes us far. And one of the things that I was looking at years ago in my teaching was, can we bring heart and compassion as a complement to the mindset? And that's where we came up years ago with the theme of a growth mindset. And I want to share with you now some of the qualities of a growth mindset. And so we have a list here for you of the qualities of a growth mindset. Some of this, in fact, what I'd like you to do, and I'm just going to ask you to throw it in the chat room, not knowing what you think would go inside of someone who carries a positive and kind heart set, what would be that qualities that you would find inside of a heart set? And just go ahead and type them for a moment inside the chat. And as you do, and Marguerite or Bryn, if you can kind of just call out some of the qualities that you're seeing there.
You're seeing compassionate, love, patience,
Understanding,
empathy,
safety,
loving, kindness, conviction,
Wonderful.
reliability, understanding.
Thank you. So as you're hearing the word, just kind of take that. Imagine classrooms, groups of people, kids being surrounded by that, all those qualities. And when they're there, the eagerness and desire to learn just grows. And some of the ones that you mentioned that we often will mention is Heartset is someone or an environment or school that carries acceptance, carries forgiveness for themselves, for one another. A genuine caring, not caring out of what am I going to get in return, but I have so much I want to give and I care for these folks. Connecting, taking the time that no one's left behind. We can look at one another. We have time for each other. An openness to be real, to be authentic in the good times and in the tough times. A genuine generosity of heart. I want to help. I want to serve. A trusting that I can count on these folks. A consideration that it's not just another person. Each one is important. And overall, it may be described as loving. A genuine humanistic care for one another. And when those things are in place, life seems to take off. And with that, we've developed what we call as 8 skills that Heartset can really be developed. It isn't something that just shows up in people's lives. Some of us are fortunate we've been surrounded by people who live a Heartset. But no matter what people's upbringings are, the more we can as teachers, as educators, can build this in who we are and how we interact with our kids, they'll flourish from that. So what Educare started to develop years ago was skills for Heartset. And we realized that if we are intentional, that we want to build this inside of ourselves, inside of our classes, inside of our society, inside of our organizations, we can go at it. And these are some of the skills that we believe are elemental for a loving, compassionate Heartset. Skill number 1, and we're going to practice a few of these today, seeing the best in each other, honoring people. And we're always saying, perhaps the first one is ourselves. Do we take the time to see the best in ourselves? Can we praise each other, speak kind words, catch people at their best rather than I got them at their worst? And think how easy that is to do. catch people at their low side? Can we catch them at the best? Can we listen, number 3, from the heart? Not trying to change people, not trying to correct them, but just going, you know what? I just want to take you in. I have a place of empathy and compassion that I hear you, I feel you. The skill of power of choice. And we're at that right now in this crazy time of ours, that we can choose, what do I do with this? What do I do with my attitudes? And we're going to look at that today. That I can resolve the conflicts. And not just the conflicts in the world, we look at how do we resolve our inner conflicts. Because when we're at greater peace with ourselves, there's more of us available to really serve and educate others. As we move up, and these start to blend together, these 8 skill sets, is moving from judgment to forgiveness. And we look at that, it's easy to be critical. It's harder to be forgiving. And perhaps the hardest one might be, how do I forgive myself? And when I can do that, there's acceptance from me just being a person, not always being at my best, but I'm learning, I'm growing. And we're going to work with this one today, number 7, towards the end of the session today, changing challenges into opportunities. That life is always there with opportunities if we look at it through that lens versus it's out to get me. I have nothing I could do about it. And lastly, the overflow of our loving heart of giving and also receiving the gifts that others give to us. So we're going to take our time, particularly today with skill set 1, 2, and 7. They all start blending together, and we're going to do it through a very interactive way. And in order to do that, I want to flip over to our next screen, which is, in fact, I'm going to take us back one beat. Let me see here. Yeah, we're going to do the first screen, the first skill set, which has to do with honoring. And I'm going to turn it over to Margalit for a great example of when people can honor one another, and it's a story. I'll turn it over to you, Margalit.
All right. I love sharing this story. Some of you may have heard it before. So I'll read it. In the Babemba tribe of South Africa, when a person acts irresponsibly or unjustly, he is placed in the center of the village, alone and unfettered. All work ceases, and every man, woman, and child in the village gathers in a large circle around the accused individual. Then each person in the tribe speaks to the accused, one at a time, about all the good things the person in the center of the circle has done in his lifetime. Every incident, every experience that can be recalled with any detail and accuracy is recounted. All the positive attributes, good deeds, strengths, and kindnesses are recited carefully and at length. The tribal ceremony often lasts several days. At the end, the tribal circle is broken. A joyous celebration takes place, and the person is symbolically and literally welcomed back into the tribe. And such a beautiful example, I think, of seeing the person for who they are, not always for their behavior.
Thanks so much, Margalit. Mm-hmm. And people wonder, could that actually be the case in our society? People don't treat each other that way. But what if? And we had a teacher actually took that story to heart and practiced that with one of her classes with a kid who was being really troublesome. Put him in the center, kids gathered around, sat, and told them the best of themselves. And all of a sudden, that kid didn't need the negative attention of acting out. He realized, you know what? People like me just for the way I am. And part of that whole skill set of honoring and honoring one another really starts with honoring ourselves. And it's been thought that honoring yourself is selfish, it's, egotistical. But what if it's honoring ourselves in very genuine ways that find the best in ourselves? And we're going to practice that, because if we can do it for ourselves, we're then more genuinely able to help teach it to our kids. So here's an activity, and I'll go first, that we're going to soon have you in breakouts. And it's going to be called the Good News Activity. Some of you may have done this before. You'll be in breakout groups of about 4 or 5 in just a moment or two. And you'll have a chance to at first introduce yourselves to one another, and we'll tell you how to do that. But first, let me tell you the activity. You'll each get a chance to share, and it'll be for a minute, the good news about yourself. You as a person, not just what you like or what you're good at doing, but what's good about you. And I'm going to ask if you would, Bryn, just to time me for a minute here. So if I'm in your group, I would say, hey, I'm Stu. Good news about me is I care deeply. I care about people. I care about that I want good for the world. Good news about me is I put the best of me forward. I go at it hard. I'm a hard worker. I'm loyal to people. I'll stand by them. I'll be honest. I'll tell people what I think, not in a cruel way, but because I just want the best for them to see of what I believe. I'm joyful. I can have corny humor at times. Good news about me is I care deeply. I care deeply about my family. I'm a good learner. I'm willing to realize that I don't have all the answers, that I want to learn from other people. I'm also, part of my good news is I love to elevate others. I love to see them just rise up high, and that I can do a lot just to support them, that I don't always have to be out in front. More good news about me, I hope Brenda, you keep me time. More good news about me is,
Time.
Okay. So you got to look and see what happens, what a minute looks like. Sometimes the mind goes, boy, I'm on a roll. Another time the mind goes, I don't know what to say. Or I already said that. What should I say next? Whatever it is, speak of the good news about yourself. And the others in your group will get to listen. And when you're done speaking, they'll give a chance to give you an applause, snap fingers, some wave out to you inside your breakout. So this is where cameras will be good. If not, if you're just on voice. And what's going to happen is when you get into your group, the first thing we want you to introduce yourself. We'll give you a minute. Introduce yourself right around each of the 4 or 5 of you. Name, where you're from, and your favorite ice cream. So I'm Stu, I'm from LA. Ice cream is vanilla fudge. And each person gets to do that. Then the first person, and you'll then define who's your timekeeper. So that person, they will give you a little banner to say 1 minute in, next person, next minute, next person. Have someone keep time in case you don't read the banner across your screen. Minute per person. Whoever, and decide, I'll go first, who's second, third, fourth, and fifth. Then go ahead and start. Each person, 1 minute for your good news. Give them some acknowledgement. Second person, 1 minute for their good news. And each of the people in your breakout group of 4 or 5. If by chance you don't get into a breakout, we'll do our best on the technology side, and you're by yourself, just go ahead and do it to yourself out loud or write it down on a piece of paper. Share your good news, but hopefully everybody will be in a breakout. And then as it gets to the very end, we'll tell you it's 1 minute to go, and we'll bring you back out into the main room. So let me just check in with Bryn. Anything logistically you want to say about the breakout?
So Stu, it's only 3 or 4 per room.
Okay.
And Margalit, Armando, and Stu, I put you all in the same breakout, so just don't accept your invitation. And everyone, you are going to be, like I said, in rooms of 3 or 4. If for some reason you don't have a 4th person, or if somebody drops off, like Stu said, you guys can communicate about what that experience was like for you. But we will be going to the full 4, for 4 for the rooms that have 4, but we don't have any 5s, thankfully. So, okay.
Great.
Also, if you don't have audio, because this happened yesterday, just use the chat as your way to communicate with your group. And I'll be putting the instructions in the chat for you as well.
Great. And before we get into breakout, thanks, Margalit and Bryn. Remember, the first thing is introductions, name where you're from, favorite ice cream. And the second is, before you start, choose your timekeeper and decide, I'll go first, I'll go second, I'll go third, I'll go fourth. So make those first, and then start your minute of good news. All righty?
Here we go.
So here we go. It may take a second to get into your breakouts.
All right. So assign to.
If you haven't yet, hit that join breakout room button.
Yeah, oh, here, that's why I can't see it. It's off this.
Are you going to have a gallery
Thank you, Jessley.
when we come back to out of the breakout, Stu?
Say that again.
Do you want to do gallery view when we come out of the breakouts? Are you going to take sharing?
Like stop the sharing screen is what she's saying. Stu.
Yes.
Okay.
And are folks knowing it's what the time is to start to wrap it up?
Yeah, folks are coming back in.
Come back in right now. And
Yeah,
I'm
anyone want to share?
about to close all the rooms. I gotta turn off my caps, please.
Some people are having trouble getting back to the main room. So
yeah, I'm about to close them right now.
They'll come out.
They'll come out automatically.
So just click on stop share. There we go.
There we go, everybody. You're getting previews of what's next. And I think...
Welcome back, everybody.
Thank you. That was really fun. I'm glad we got to do that.
Great.
Great, Emma.
Thank you. So happy to have you guys back.
Well, Bryn, do you want to bring folks into a few sharings about what that was like for them?
Yes, so welcome back. We have about 35 seconds till the rooms close altogether. Did you want me to wait until that's done, or you want me to just go?
Let's wait for a minute.
Okay. All right.
And hopefully, you know, people have an experience of the good news, as uncomfortable as it might be at times, because, oh, that's conceited, that's egotistical. Often we'll be saying a lot of the bad news inside of our own talk. To share some of the good news, it's good to remember that for ourselves. Then it's easier for our kids to have that as well. So we're gathering everyone back in, and
now we're good.
Good. So Bryn, you want to take us into some group sharing?
Yes. Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Just in your windows where we can see you, just give us a thumbs up if that was a great experience. Did everybody enjoy that? All right. You had great partners, and apologize for any technical difficulties. Obviously, with the more people we have, the harder it is to address that. But we definitely did our best to move the people around, and apologize if you got in a breakout by yourself. We'd love to hear some sharing. So you're just going to raise your hand in your window, and then I'll say your name, and then I'll ask you to unmute yourself. So go ahead and raise your hand in your, in your raise hand button thing, because I can't see everyone. So Ireta, Skippy, please go ahead and unmute yourself. We'd love to hear your experience.
Hello, my name is Ireta, or Skippy is my nickname. So I really enjoyed the experience, and what I loved about it is for someone that considers themselves like really outgoing and just kind of more confident, it was even hard for me to share like the things about myself, because I don't usually say those things out loud. And a lot of that talk comes from inside. And if like, even if I am doing positive self-talk, like it's not out there in the world for me to hear. And I think words kind of bring energy to it. So I thought it was a really great experience, and I'm definitely going to take that into some of my other activities with some of my kids.
All right, we'd like to give a snaps for her just so that she can see that we're supporting her. Thank you for sharing, Ireta. How many of you had a similar experience to Ireta where you kind of like not normal? Yeah, so that's great. That's typical. We would like to hear from a few more people. Let's see, I've got Margaret S. Florida. I don't know if that's your last name or where you're from, but let's do it. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, I just moved here about 6 months ago. It's very interesting because my partner didn't have video working, so I talked to a blank screen. So she talked about her experiences of where she was, because I asked her where she was living and why, you know, that she was living in this remote kind of rural kind of experience. And my experience was so different. And I talked a lot about how the goal was set for me by my mother, that our goal was to leave where we grew up. That was, and the only way we could leave was through education. And so it's not a matter of where do you think, like, are you going to go to college? It was, where are you going to go to college, right? It was not, so that was, and circumstances are such, but it was really great. We never got into the other stuff except my favorite ice cream and hers, but it was very nice. I would have liked to have had the video, but that didn't work out that way. But we still had a conversation without it because we are oral communicators with the phone so much, right? So thank you very much.
Thank you, Margaret. I know it's different for everybody, and of course, yes, but I bet you felt each other's heart nonetheless. Yes. All right, C. Collins, gotta have a little that male energy in here. So let's get a share from Mr. Collins.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yeah, just shout out to my group, first of all, Ty and Jan, they were great. We just kind of talked about really just energy and being positive, kind of, and like just kind of how Bryn just commented, you can feel that even through a screen. So when somebody's genuine and when somebody cares, and I like when Stu brought that up about how me being an after school coordinator, how people listen, not just kids, but just people listen when they know that you do care. So we're just talking about, remaining positive, keeping that energy going, because, it could be hard to lose faith at times like this, and when times seem struggling and stuff like that. So, just talking about keeping that spirit up, keeping that optimism and all that other good stuff. So like I said, that's why I got my puppy in my lap. Anything that could bring you joy, keep it close, do what you got to do to maintain that happiness. Definitely.
Nice.
So it sounds like you guys shared not only the good news about you, but ways to see the good news in the world. So sounds like you guys did different things, but the big thing was being able to be with each other. So thank you guys for participating in that. I wish we had time for more shares, but definitely please take that experience, and we will be going back into a breakout later. So thank you for everyone. And Stu, with that, take it away.
Thank you, everybody. And just great to, see just what that good news is in each of us. And the more we see it in ourselves, the more we're going to see it in one another. And just so you know, when I first taught middle school, it was Friday. We would do good news occasionally, and we'd bring everybody into a big circle, and no one would want to say, everybody quiet, let's hear the good news. And we take it right around. So it's an activity that can be shared in small groups, even in a group of 25 or 30. I want to share a screen with you because along with the good news, there's another activity that if we had more time, we would be sharing with you. And it's a take home, and it's one you can do with your kids. We call it the strength circles. Because when we know the good news about ourselves, we get to see it in each other much more easily. If we're critical with ourselves, we're going to be critical with others. So as kids and staff start to honor themselves, we can find the best and praise each other. So this is an activity we call strength circles. You don't need a page like this out of our workbook. You can just get a piece of paper, draw 2 circles. And what happens is on the outside here, with a partner that they've gotten to know a little bit, they'll write down quietly all the words they think about that person that's positive. Oh, they're smart, they're funny, they're helpful, they're kind. And then they get a chance to tell that person what they wrote and why they wrote it. And it just opens up people's closeness to one another, hearts to one another. Then they get the paper back, and in the middle on their own paper, they start to write down, well, you left out some things, and here's what I think about myself. And then they go back with strengths that are given to them and strengths that they acknowledge for themselves. And we've had kids do this with their parents, with their family members, with friends. And it's a wonderful take home on seeing the best, not only in yourself, but in one another. So we wanted to share that one, that strength circle. It's coming out of our book called Making the Best of Me. Part of this whole self-care also has a lot to do with taking the time for ourselves and realizing that sometimes, I know for me, I'm going at a fast pace and I have to go slow it down, pause, take care of myself so I can take care of others. And I want to get you a chance to have an activity that many of you probably do of mindfulness, of meditation of sort, that Margalit is so skilled at. And I'm going to ask her to take us in as I stop this share into a self-care activity of mindfulness. So over to you, Margalit.
All right. Thank you, Stu. Yes, we often in our Heartset trainings do a time of mindfulness. And it's really time for us to just pause and breathe and connect with ourselves. Because a big part of expressing heartfelt, heartset with others and the fact that we care is to really bring that caring to ourselves, bring an opportunity of more self-awareness so that we can create the environment for the love to be present. Because often we're running around, we're busy, we're on our phones, etc. So mindfulness is really just an opportunity to slow down and pause and connect with our hearts. So with that, I invite all of you to just sit back in your chairs if you aren't already, and just get comfortable. If you have anything in your hands, you can just put it down and just allow your body to relax and receive this moment. And gently close your eyes if you're comfortable in doing that. And we're just going to take some slow, deep breaths in and out to the count of 4 as we move into this space of calm and peace and presence. So go ahead now and just take a nice, slow, deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And slowly exhale. 2, 3, and 4. And again, breathing in the loving that's present. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. And as you exhale, just let go of any concerns and allow yourself to come fully present. And again, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale, 2, 3, and 4. And if you feel moved to, you can place one hand on your heart, one hand on your abdomen as a way to just connect more deeply within. And just come aware of your body and how it's feeling. If there's any tension anywhere, sometimes we hold it in our neck. You can just gently stretch it from side to side as you continue to breathe slowly and gently, feeling your lungs filling up, knowing that there's nothing that you need to do right now in this moment. Continue to breathe slowly in whatever way that's comfortable for you. And you can even say inwardly as you like, as you breathe in the word peace, and exhale the word calm. Just breathing gently and slowly. And now bring to mind someone that you're grateful for, how they make a difference in your life, the experience of the caring that you have for them, and the gratitude for the presence, their presence in your life. And now take a moment to appreciate you, who you are, that there's no one else quite like you, the gift that you are to the people in your life, to all of us, your presence. It's a gift to the world. Continue to focus on your breath. And if any thoughts come to mind, you don't need to do anything with them. Just bring yourself back to the breath, to this moment. Knowing that all is well right here and right now. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of time with just out my voice, the silence of this and this beautiful music, to just be with you in the peace. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, feeling yourself with gratitude for this moment, for yourself, and exhale. And whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Welcome back, everyone. If you're back, any of you feeling a little more peaceful and calm? Anyone? Nice. Thanks for sharing that with us. Everyone doing it together is so nice. And I'll hand it back to Stu.
Right. And if anyone started to head out and go to sleep, I can understand it. Thank you, Margalit.
Sure.
And that whole idea of pausing in our day and how important that is, and letting kids pause and reflect. And there's so many different techniques, from mindfulness or meditation, journaling, all of that. That self-reflection is a big part of Heartset. So I'm glad everyone had a chance to have that right now. We're going to move ahead And Bryn, I'm worried that I can use some help because I lost my PowerPoint screen. So if you
Okay.
could take us back to that last one, and if one of you could hit the share screen, that would be great. We were at the strength.
You got it, Bryn? Or do you want me to?
So right at the strength circle slide. Yeah, that's good. That's great right there. And I'm going to ask you just to click with me, okay, Margalit? So right now, we're going to turn to, because we wanted to blend skill set 1 and 2, the honoring, the praising, with, though we often go in sequence, but this is so timely for us right now. Here we are living in a time of challenge, of uncertainty, of change, and how do we approach it with the best of attitudes, with a heart set? And so our skill set is how do we take those challenges, because they're going to always be with us. Now it's huge, but how do we take it in a way that we can then use it for our advancement? And we've done something, we've kind of put together skills that we call the 4 tudes. And if you hit the next click, and before we go into these, maybe in the chat room, you've probably heard the word tude. If you would guess what our 4 tudes are, go ahead in the chat room right now and let's find out what people think these tudes are. Whoops, it looks like we gave you one, but go ahead and chat. What do you think these 4 tudes might be? And let's see what some of the answers we're getting. So I see attitude, I see someone's writing down. I saw fortitude, gratitude, aptitudes, tuditudes. Well, here we are, we're gonna take you there. So we're gonna go one at a time. Thanks, everybody. So the first one we're gonna place out there is altitude. Altitude, that maybe we can see life and situations from a higher perspective, like a forest ranger up in the tower looking down over the whole forest can really see things with more objectivity, more neutrality. So can we pull ourselves up, get other points of view, and look at life in new ways rather than being stuck in the mud? And the second of our tudes, and a lot of you noticed that one, is attitude. How do we put our choices, and the choice is always with us, no matter what's going on, what do we take into it? Is it a negative attitude? Is it a positive attitude? Do we find joy and happiness and hopefulness, regardless of what the situations are? And I think we're living in a time, and I'm watching a lot of good news when I'm watching the news at all, of the tremendous stories that lift me when I see the kindness of what people are bringing into this time of giving and helping out in their communities. That's our choice. The third one we want to introduce is the one of gratitude. And to me, that's kind of the magic potion. If we can be grateful regardless, rather than it's not enough, but look what I do have, look what's in front of me. And for me, it might be sometimes just getting outdoors and looking at the beauty of nature, or listening to someone that makes me laugh, or a friend that loves me, or family member. Just those small things to bring that in to lift ourselves. And I saw this last one that some of you mentioned, which is often forgotten, and that's fortitude. Having the strength, the wherewithal, you know what, no matter what, I have the agency within me to get through it. And it's part of my perseverance, it's part of my nature. And if we can realize that all 4 of these 4 tudes are in our possession, no matter what the situations are. And I think we can look at people who inspire us, who live lives through these tudes. So I want us to take a moment, and this will be a breakout, that you have a chance to look at what the challenges are that you might be facing now, and which of the tude or tudes might you be using to get you through. So in just a moment, like before, you'll be in a breakout, a new group of 3 or 4 people, and the questions will be this. And the first question, and I think that's on the next screen if we need it, yeah. And the questions will be this one. And you can just take us through. What's a challenge you're experiencing at this time? And there's 3 questions. So for me, a challenge that I'm experiencing at this time is one, how do I balance all that I want to do in terms of helping inside of Educare and the work that I do and take care of myself? How do I make time for all of that? So which tude might assist me in facing that challenge? So the tude that might assist me is the tude of just being grateful that I have a lot that I can do and serve and help. And being grateful that my body has tremendous stamina, my health is strong, but take the time for that. So that's the tude that I can use. And the third question is, what's one step that I can take to use that tude? So if you can click the next one, Margalit, the third question is, what's one step I can take to use that tude? So one thing is to really get to bed at a good hour and just shut it down, no matter how much more there's to do. Another step in terms of being grateful is to take time with my wife to recognize how much and let her know, to share myself in terms of, you know what, I just need to tell you how much I love you and how much you've been supporting me, and express my gratitude. So that's, if I was in your breakout, it might sound something like that. So as before, be thinking right now, a challenge you may be experiencing, which tude or tudes can help you through it, and what's a step you can take with that tude. And as before, when you get into your breakout this time, it's going to be your name, where you're from, new group of people, and what's a favorite hobby or recreation for you. And for me, it might be, playing sports or watching sports. Choose your timekeeper, decide who's going to go first, second, third, or fourth. And then rather than 1 minute, we're going to give each person 2 minutes to take yourself through all 3 questions. Other persons just listen. Give them some acknowledgement when they're done. Then there'll be 2 minutes for the next person to go through those 3 questions. And then 2 minutes for the third. And if you have 4, 2 minutes for the fourth. So take it through as many times as you can during your 2 minutes with those 3 questions. And then after those period of time, we'll then bring you back out into the main room. So Brent, if there's any other comments before we set everyone into breakout room, just go ahead.
So everyone should be in a room of 4 or 3. I tried to make it as equitable as possible. Obviously, this time I didn't move Armando, Stu, and Marguerite into a separate room, so just don't accept your invitations, okay? All right, thank you.
And is it a total of 8 minutes then?
So it's a minute to introduce yourself by name, where you're from, and your hobby. A minute to choose your timekeeper and who's going to go first, second, third, or fourth. And then each of you will have 2 minutes each.
So 10 minutes.
That'll be
so it's 10. So it's still 10. Okay.
All right.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you unmute us all before we go to the breakout rooms, please?
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe they
Thank you,
might only
Terry.
have one.
You
should be able to unmute yourself once you get in the breakouts. It didn't work? Okay.
Armando, can
I've unmuted everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Questions are going to be in the chat.
Please accept invitations, everyone. Please accept Marguerite.
Yes.
Can you pick the time for me and then just tell me when 2 minutes is up so that we can then move into the time for the first person.
Oh, so we came back.
Yeah, you're good, David.
Okay.
You just closed the rooms, but yeah, you're good because there's some rooms only had 3. So.
Hi, Ida.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Heidi and HKL, Leslie.
Glad to have you.
Thank you. That was great.
Michelle.
We're already starting to say what.
Audrey, Ivan, Monica, welcome back. Jessica, Liliana, Chelsea, Oscar.
Some people are sharing already what tude they chose. Nellie chose altitude, looking at it from above and getting a better perspective to take the positive from the negative and embracing it.
Nice. And with that, welcome back, everyone. Thank you. We've closed the rooms. We want to do the same thing as we did before. We're going to have a couple people share verbally. So if you could put your hand up on your, the participants thing where you raise your hand. We'd like to take some sharing from maybe 2 to 3 people. So please raise your hands. All right. The first one I see is Alvy Miller. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Alvy.
Brent, the rooms are still closing, so let it finish fully. You got about 20.
They're already closed on mine.
Okay, so it's still showing. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Alvy Miller, go ahead and unmute.
Yes, I did. So thank you for the opportunity to share. And my group asked me to do it. And so in my group, we all chose one of each different one of the tudes. We had the attitude, the altitude, the gratitude, and the fortitude in an explanation for each of them. And so I just kind of shared my little person right here. All right. And so I wrote on here, this is the altitude, like what am I seeing, right? And the attitude is like, where's my heart? Where's it coming from in my heart? The gratitude, how can I share that? How can I give it through my hands? And then the fortitude, like, how do I continue to move forward?
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Wonderful.
Always so great when you have people share and you see all the different creative ways they share things. So thank you, Albie, for bringing that in an artistic way. We really appreciate that.
And thank you to my group too for sharing.
What room were you in?
6.
Shout out to group 6. Okay, so we'd like some more shares. So please raise your hand in the software if you know how, and or not, just raise your hand in your window and I'll try to see if I can see you. But we'd like to take sharing from a few more people what that experience was like for you sharing, or just with the 4 tudes. You don't have to necessarily share all the tudes, but what your experience was like with your group. Okay, Christopher, I see you. Let's do it. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Christopher. I know there's probably more than one Christopher.
All right. Am I unmuted now?
Yeah, you're good. You're perfect, man.
One of the things, it was just me and Margaret in our group, but it was nice to have a conversation. There was a bit of a different generational gap. So it was nice to hear what the challenges facing somebody from a different generation, an older generation, versus what I think is important to me, what's important to her. And I think that goes really into, especially when we're dealing with children, there is that generation gap. And so what might not trouble you might be troubling them. And looking at it from different perspectives and how to use the altitude, attitude, gratitude, fortitude in order to overcome these was just a great little meeting with her.
Nice. Thank you, Christopher and Margaret. What room are you in, Christopher or Margaret? You guys can maybe
I'm not sure what room we're in. This is my first Zoom, so.
And Albie, there's a request for you to send that out somehow to everyone, and you can send that to Armando, and maybe he'll try to get it out to people. So just let you know, okay? Cynthia De Leon, you'll be our last sharer because you raised your hand. So please unmute yourself. We'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, hi everyone. Cynthia, I'm joining from New York. I just wanted to share and express my gratitude for my group. I believe we were breakout room 15. There was a lot of vulnerability in my group, and it was really appreciated. And there was also a lot of appreciation from everyone, just like being that vulnerable and taking that time out to be vulnerable with strangers. And it was just really nice.
Wow.
Nice. Felipe, I see your hand. Unfortunately, we just only have time for a few shares but thank you guys for all your shares. Please type your comments in the chat. We'll try to bring it back into the conversation because we want to be honorable of your time that we've said. And in the future, we're going to look to expand these meetings to maybe just a little bit longer to allow for more sharing. So thank you everyone for sharing. The Fortitudes has really been something that's had a lot of impact with people. So we're looking forward to see how more of you use that in your work. All right. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Stu.
Thank you, Bryn. Thanks, everybody. Aldi, just 80, when you said about that vulnerability inside your group, you know, it might be we're just strangers, but what if wherever we go, if we're that open, there's a depth of connection, just like you experienced. When years ago, I was doing a program in Israel, and I didn't know the language much, and how do I get to meet folks? But someone came up to me and said, Stu, one of the gifts you gave us is your vulnerability came across as your strength. And people can recognize that the vulnerability of the heart, when it's genuine and it's caring and it's respectful, it's a strength of quality. So I just want to, thanks for bringing that up. If it's Aldi or Cynthia, I'm not quite sure who brought that in. So thank you. I want to kind of wrap up inside of this. We've done 3 Heartset skills. And as we come closer to closing out the workshop today, I want to look how we can take that with us. And a lot of that is how do we come out of this workshop with some real practical tips. Now, we gave you some activity tips, but I want to take a look at some self-care tips. And I want to share this screen, and hopefully I'm able to get there. There we are. From the Tudes into tips for building our self-care and our heart set. And I'm looking at this for ourselves, because when we're strong and healthy, there's more of us to reach out and help other people. And this is not information that is just to educate. This has been out in the field. We've gathered it from a few sources. We give a lot of credit out to Thrive Global because they've kind of done a lot of work with self-care. And so one of their main tips that we're using is physical health. How do you take care of yourself physically? Of course, we know sleep, Often it's said 7 hours is recommended. Nutrition, all the types of enough water, enough healthy foods, and of course, movement in terms of stretching, dancing, moving, walking, playing activities. So take care of ourselves physically. Another way of self-care, of course, is emotionally. Connections. And just like today, we said, let's not let the computers get in the way. We can be connected. We can be connected to ourselves. We can be connected to those around us. We can show acts of kindness as a way of connecting. And in the giving, there's a sense of receiving back the gift of your own giving, a sense of service. And I think we're living in a world today where there's so many examples. I mean, everything that we're seeing in after school, from the grab and go, where kids are coming in and picking up supplies, to our healthcare workers, to people in the community just doing wonderful things for one another. That's the way of building up not only Heartset, but a sense of your own self-care. And then joy triggers. And Marguerite shared this last week in one of her programs. I loved it. Play, creativity, music, and fun. You know, just having moments, let's kind of move past what might be heavy into a place of joy. And I asked Bryn a few hours ago, can we do a joy trigger live with us right now? So Bryn, you want to take us into a joy trigger right now?
You're muted, Bryn.
Absolutely. I need you to stop your share, Stu.
Okay, let me do that.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys, we're going to ask for just a few moments. We're going to do this for about 30 to 45 seconds. We're going to ask that you rise up from wherever you're sitting, whether we can see you or not. We're about to dance. So we're doing a quick dance, okay? And that means move your body, get your energy moving, because that's a big part of joy triggers. So here we go. Let me turn the music back up, because I just realized I turned it down for that beautiful meditation that Marguerite did earlier. All right, here we go. Whether you like the song or not, move your body. Everybody.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up, no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. Just imagine. I can see the change when you dance. Feel good creeping up on you, so just dance. All those things I should have done,
So, yes. So thank you guys for that amazing. I saw some great dancing. I heard some great singing. So thank you for that.
Smiles too.
And we encourage more of that movement today. After this, get out, get some more dancing in you. But with that, back to our host, Stu.
All righty, let's see if I can get back to my screen.
Stop sharing. Yep, you're good.
Okay, I'm still in my joy trigger of dancing, but I'm moving right ahead to the next. Mental health. Gratitude, we've talked about that lubricant of just feeling grateful for the small things, for whatever it might be. Helps refocus the mind into what's good. Meditation, mindfulness, breathing, pausing, journaling, walking, whatever that might be. And the growth mindset. How do we take our mind to focus on the positive, choosing that to a positive attitude? So some tips for physical well-being, emotional well-being, and mental well-being. And as we start to bring it to a close right now, I want us to kind of sit back and think about what's your takeaway from the day. If you had something, you go, you know what, here's what I could most use in my life that I've learned today with Heartset, and would like you in the chat room, just think for a moment and just put in a few words, your phrase, what's your main takeaway from the Heartset workshop today? And put it in the chat room, and I'll ask Marguerite, Bryn, if you can share out some of those.
Gratitude, I can have joy, hope, gratitude. Fortitudes, So many gifts, says Terry Joy Wheeler. Gratitude connection, Frank. I love dancing, says Catherine Hall.
Me too.
Mark Quinn, it's not just about attitude. Gratitude plus cartitude. I think they mean attitude, I'm not sure. We can connect. Jermaine says, grateful for this workshop. Thank you. Boogie, says Gwyneth. Being present, focus, movement, meeting others, happy. Stu, Marguerite, and Bryn. Hey, thanks. We love that. Being intentional, the meditation section. How we operate our group sessions doesn't have to be boring. I want to share my gratitude with everyone. In the moment of uncertainty, we must show kindness and love to each other. I'm always Chinieri. I know, I see you. That joy trigger, gratitude, kindness. There you go, Stu. Lots of beautiful comments.
All right, that's
Really
beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And it doesn't end at this workshop. It doesn't end right here. So just know we can just take it and see it and use it and practice it as we go. So as we start to come to a close, I wanted to turn it over to Armando for a moment. He has some announcements, upcoming events, and then we'll do a closing together. So over to you, Armando.
Thanks, Stu. Just really quick again, I am sharing a few upcoming workshops. For some of you guys that did register for next week's Heartset Skill Number 4, Power of Choice, we are switching it to a week later. We had just a request of mindfulness and peace for calm. A lot of folks were looking at that so they could take it back into their groups early on. So we did kind of switch that over to next Thursday. You will get an email coming up from me directly. For some of you guys that are not in our current mailing list or in our e-blast, go ahead and email me. You could take a photo of the image, and my email is at the bottom. Email me and I'll get you all the right information. As well, I'm also gonna post an evaluation link on the chat. So if you can, I'm gonna stop my share now, but go ahead, give you guys a few seconds to take the information down. These are great sessions, more in depth into each specific skill set. So here's a share. So if you can, again, for all of us, we're always looking to get better and to better serve, again, our educators, our staff that we support up and down the state and in other parts of the world. But please take time, if it is at least a few minutes, to go ahead and copy that link and complete the evaluation for us. There is the link again. I posted it a few times, so if you could get a chance on there. And then we are going to go ahead and give this information, this recording, over to Sam at How Kids Learn Foundation for them to send it directly to you guys. Once that is available, you guys will have this emailed to you. If you are looking specifically for the PowerPoints, that is a more specific email to me, and I could just return the email back to you. There is a lot of you guys on here, but I don't mind sending it to you. So again, we have upcoming sessions, and if you have take your time, 1 or 2 minutes to complete the evaluation that I have posted on the chat. So again, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having you guys on other sessions in the upcoming weeks.
Armando, one question. Some people wanted to know, do they have to register for those workshops? That's one.
You do have to register because, again, those workshops, you'll get the link and password to those workshops once you registered.
And secondly, they wanted to know if for future dates, how do they stay in touch with us?
So make sure that you email me. That's the best thing, and we'll make sure we add you on to our future email blast announcing all these sessions.
And I put his email in the chat as well, so you can copy and paste that if you didn't catch it on the slides. Armando@educarefoundation.com.
All right.
And again, I'm posting the evaluation form, one more time.
I'm ready, Stu.
And I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back to Stu.
Great.
Someone did ask for the information for May 7th one more time. I don't know if you could put that in the chat, Armando.
I will.
Good. Thank you, Armando. Thanks, everyone. We're about to close out. I wanted to close out with a piece of the future in a Heartset vision. It's easy to get lost into the negative of the future as hopeless, but what if all of what we're going through right now is a strengthener? And I think we can understand that. It's in a lot of ways bringing us closer if we look for that. deeper inside of ourselves and connected to one another. So if you would just take a moment and just let's close our eyes just for a short moment before we leave out today. And I'm going to just invite us again just to take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just let go of anything that's not here really to serve you well. If it's tiredness or upset or anything, just let it go. And as you breathe in hope. Breathe in newness. Breathe in love and kindness. And just breathe that in deeply for yourself. You deserve it. We all deserve it. And as you breathe that out into the world. That as you fill with your own hope, your own love, your own kindness, it's a gift that you give back out into this world. It's simple. There's nothing we have to do. And then as we go into the future, in the months ahead, we see a world that is bright. Our kids together with us, our staffs together, fun and joyful, where there could be hugs again, and laughter in big groups again at some point. But know that we're in a deeper way more grateful. For what we might have taken for granted, we no longer. We really see the beauty of humanity coming together in a higher, loving way. So with that, carry that into your life, to yourself, to your loved ones, knowing that we're creating a wonderful world. And with that, we just thank everyone for coming with us today on this Heartset journey. And we hope to see you again. And just know, we just thank you for taking the time today. So what we want to do, in addition to thanking Temesco Associates and How Kids Learn, and Stacy, Dario, and Sam for being behind us with this day, we want to open the mics again and leave us in the same fashion. We came in together, we're going to head out together. Bryn, could you help us on a send out to everyone?
So really quickly, just I'm going to unmute you guys. We want to hear your voices. Any thanks, any gratitude, any shout outs, whatever. Please just send your love into the thing, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, gracias.
Everyone, well,
Be safe.
Thank you, everyone. Claudia, Catherine, Sasha.
Thank you. Bye.
see you all.
Have a nice weekend.
Ready, Heidi, Leslie,
Bless.
Yahara,
Thank you,
Daisy,
Hazel.
Tito,
Your evaluation.
Albie.
Appreciate it.
Evaluation done.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Be well.
Thank you, friend.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Catherine.
Albie.
Hi, thank
Sarah.
you.
Hey, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Frank Vitali,
Bye, Christopher.
Deanna,
Thank
Chris,
you.
amen.
Bye, Mark.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for
Be
everything.
safe,
Love
be
you guys.
strong. Bye.
Be well, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Trey.
Bye-bye. Hi, I'm just staying on.
Hi, Frank. Okay.
Wow, it's kind of fun.
Down all day. We'll leave it open for you, Frank.
Felipe. Be well, everybody. Galaxy.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you soon.
Hey, you
Thank you,
guys. Hey, Felipe.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. I learned a lot today.
Great.
Love it.
Good having you on.
Thanks a lot. It was really, really good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Imelda.
That coming from here?
I think it's Selena.